Hi, and welcome to Old School Blues Guitar, and it's time for another acoustic lesson. It's been a long time, and I am backlogged on my acoustic lessons. I'm going to try to make up for it here in June and July. For May and June 2016, I'm going to try to teach a tune called Gambler's Blues by Little Son Jackson. And this is a really cool tune. I performed this live with my brother singing it. And the tune is in the key of G. It's an open G tuning. So if you've never done an open G tuning before, this is a song that's really pretty approachable if you just learn a few ideas and positions and things like that. Very similar. This song is very similar to many songs by John Lee Hooker, whose guitar playing we'll get into in another lesson in the next couple months. But anyway, open G. So when I strum the guitar open, it's a G chord. I've got a D, as in dog, on my 6th, 4th, and 1st strings. So using a tuner or your own magnificent ear, if you have a magnificent ear, tune those to D. The 2nd string stays in B, just like normal. B. And then you're going to tune the 3rd string is going to be G. So that stays normal, just like standard tuning. And then the only other difference is you're going to tune the 5th string to a G. So your 5th and your 3rd string should be exactly the same. And when you get the tuning right, and you strum that open chord, it just sounds really beautiful. And then it's open G. So let's run through that again. I'm going to go ahead and play my strings so you can tune along with me if you want. If you want to use a tuner, fine. So our high E is now going to be a D. That's a D. Our 2nd string is going to be a B. Just check that, make sure I've got that right. There we go. Okay, so do that again. 2nd string B. 3rd string is a G. 4th string is a D. 5th string is a G. And then my bottom string, my 6th string, is a D. Right there. And then strum it. And you should be good to go. I'm going to check a couple strings there. He's good. My 5th is a little flat. There we go. I use a tuner when I switch open tunings, unless I'm just changing one string, like going to drop D tuning. I usually use my tuner. Make sure I get it right. Now, Gambler Blues, there's, instead of going through the song part by part in order, I'm going to kind of skip around, and I'm going to start out with the main lick, the lick you hear throughout the song. It's in G, and your 5th string is now an open G. So as you play this tune, what I hear when I listen to the original recording is I hear a monotonic bass. It's just thumping on that open string, and what I'm doing is taking my right hand palm and resting it gently on the 5th string so I don't get this. I want a muted percussive sound. And by varying how hard you hit that string, you'll get other strings like the 4th string, maybe even the 6th string to ring out as well. So you got to keep that going. Now every now and then he'll do this lead-in thing where he goes from the open 6th to the open 5th. Like that. And again, those are just open strings. You don't have to fret anything. And you can hear, if you listen to the original recording, you'll hear him do that quite a bit. And I'll show you exactly where he does this in the song as we go through. Now the main licks, when you play an open G, there's some different licks you can play. And the basic lick of the song goes something like this. Actually, let me play the melody first. Now when I listen to the song, it's hard for me to hear exactly what he's playing for this melody because he's singing and that obscures the guitar a little bit. So what I hear is this. So what I'm doing, starting with an open G, and then I'm going to bend the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. You see where I mix in that double bass. And then I'm going to go 3rd fret, 1st fret on the 2nd string. And then open 3rd string. So there I'm bouncing back and forth between the 3rd fret of the 3rd string and the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And that mimics what he's singing. So you say, I once was a gambler, spent my money wrong, or something like that. So that's what I play over the first verse and over many of the verses that are sung. And then he goes to this double stop. And a little chord thing here. This double stop is just like if you were in standard tuning and you were playing like a Chuck Berry type thing, but with the different tuning, you've got more of a G7th sound. So you're just taking your 1st finger. Actually, I'd use my 3rd finger, or even 2nd finger, whatever's best for you, because that frees up your 1st and 2nd finger to do some picking. So you just slide into it, and he changes how he attacks this throughout the song. He does all kinds of different little things. So that double stop, and then he goes 1st fret of the 2nd string, 3rd fret of the 3rd string, little bend, open. So let me play that whole sequence. Oops, let me do that again. This is like a G7th too, and I'm just putting one finger on the 5th fret of the 1st string, and I'm keeping the bass going. And I'm picking mostly the 1st and 2nd strings. Actually getting the 3rd a little bit too. So let's do that whole sequence again. And then he repeats it. The song is all in G. It stays on the 1. There's one point where it kind of goes to the 4, but mostly on the 1. And then he goes back to that again. Whoop. There's some variations on this. Sometimes he's doing this. Sometimes he's doing this. And that's another kind of G7th with my finger, ring finger I'm using on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. You can actually go back and forth between those two, 5th fret, 3rd fret. If you ever listen to Robert Johnson stuff in open G, he does a lot of this. Which is really the same idea. So let's try to play through one verse of Gambler Blues, just a real bare bones, simple verse. Before we do that, I forgot the other variation. He does, instead of this, he does. So he increases and changes, you know, the melody there a little bit. Throw the bass in. And that little bass lead in, every time he leads into a new verse or the second part of a verse, he announces it or introduces it by playing that little bass run. So the whole basic framework of Gambler Blues is this. Let me play it one more time for you. Into the next verse. And again, if you listen real carefully, you can pick up if there's any variations in what he's doing up there, you can hear him. I can't hear it clearly. So when I play this, I just kind of try my best to imitate the tone of his vocal, what he's singing, mimic, you know, play along, call and response. Not really call and response because I'm playing it at the same time, but get the idea. Now some other things in the song. There's a solo, a couple different solos that are really cool. And then there's an introduction and an end tag. And I want to teach all those things as part of this lesson. So the first thing, before we get to that, just a quick review. It's an open G. Just hammering on that open 5th string the whole time. Just play that. Now if you notice I'm mixing up what I'm doing over that 7th. I should probably stick on this. I think he plays this. He does that more than he'll do that a little bit later in the solo. But those are options. You can be creative and do whatever you want with that. So there's the first part of Gambler Blues by Little Son Jackson. I will come back and we'll go to the introduction, and then we'll also work on the solos. There's 2 solos that are really pretty cool in the tune, and we'll get to those. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. And again, make sure you listen to the original recording. I do not have tab for this right now. I'm going to try to get it up there eventually, but it takes me a long time to write acoustic tab because I'm not real great at it, and I'll do the best I can. But until then, just watch this video and just imitate what I'm doing here, and listen to the recording for yourself and see if you can hear anything that I may have missed. See you in a little bit.